10 huge, dare I say huge, financial changes you must make ASAP in retirement. Number one, changing from being a saver to a spender. I know I've mentioned this before in my videos, but it's very important. It's a hard transition to make for some people. For me, it was at first. I think I've gotten over it, I hope. Because, up until retirement, all you're doing is saving for retirement. Then you get to retirement and you're spending. And you look at your nest egg going, wait a sec, it was here one day and now it's here. Yeah, that's a big change. Big change in mindset. For some people, it's kind of tough. Just takes a while. You'll get the hang of it. Hang in there, guys. If you're having a problem with that, just relax. You'll get used to it. Number two, buying presents for people, especially if you have kids, or maybe not even kids. If you're retired, they're grown up. Grandkids. I've said this before as well. Financially, if you're retired, it's not the same as when you're making money. You've got that paycheck coming in. Hey, okay, why don't we get this? Why don't we just give them a nice little present for their honeymoon? We'll give them, like, I don't know, a 3-day weekend in Hawaii. Sure, it might be nice, for the grandkids, 20, 21 years old, 25, whatever. I'm sure they'd love it. But can you afford to do that now that you're in retirement? You got to think about that, guys. You got to think about that. It's not like you're getting that steady paycheck coming in, right? Think about it. Sure, do it once in a while, but be careful. Be very careful with that. Number three, balancing risk in your portfolio. Now, I'm pretty risk averse. So, as I tell you, when you get older, you should lower your risk as you get older in your portfolio. Because if you take a big hit, if you're like 80, 90% stocks in your portfolio and you're like 65, if you take a big hit, you don't have that additional income coming in to make that up for that big hit. It's not like you're dollar cost averaging anymore when you're retired, right? So managing risk, it can be a big thing. It can be a big deal. You know what is the shade? The shade's coming into my golden light. It's coming off my silvery, unshaven face. I don't like that. So managing risk in retirement, in your portfolio, be cautious. Some people still remain very aggressive. If you're risk averse, I don't accept that as far as like, I'm at about, if I'm at 60% stocks, I'm good. All right. It's up to you to make the decision, but just know it's tougher to recover the older you get when you don't have that additional money coming in. Number four, adjusting to new income streams. When you're retired, when you reach Social Security, that's an income stream that's coming in. Okay. If you retired early, which I did at 59, and if any of you are watching me for the first time, my name is Duane. I retired at the end of 2021 at the age of 59 with just over $500,000. If you're interested in, strategies on retiring on moderate income, think about subscribing and please like the video. And if you really, really like it, you can buy me a coffee in the link in the description. So adjusting to new income streams. When you hit 62, if you're taking Social Security, that's a new income stream. 65, 67, whatever, okay? There is an additional income stream when you start withdrawing from your 401k. These are totally new to some people. I don't know about you, but when I was working, I had all my stuff direct deposited into my bank account. My weekly or every 2-week check. You get used to that. When you're in retirement, it's totally different. You kind of look at things differently and you're like, wait a sec, okay, I have to pay this bill, and this bill. And if you don't have like a big amount of cash on hand, you need to withdraw funds from different places. That is a financial adjustment. Be aware of that, guys. It's coming up for you. You need to adjust to this. Don't have to do it automatically, but just be aware of it. Number five, you need to stay educated on finance, as finance in general, but especially retirement finances. You have to look into, how your bonds are doing, how your stocks are doing. You have to look at your portfolio and know it back and forth. You should make that a priority, 5 years before retirement, so that you know exactly what's in your retirement portfolio. Boop, boop, retirement portfolio, and you know what makes it up. What's the percentage of stocks? What's bonds? Do you have single stocks? Do you whatever it is? Do you have index funds? Know exactly what's in your portfolio. You got to know that. When you're working, you might not need to know so much, but now you do. Also, stay educated on the newest trends in retirement. Hey, this might be a good vehicle for you to invest in. But again, when you do that, make sure you do your homework. Make sure you run it by some people that know what they're talking about, maybe a financial advisor, a fee-only one, before you make the ultimate decision. Number 6. This is one that I didn't really think about until I was retired. When you're retired, you have a lot more free time. What does that mean? You might want to fill up that free time with things that you didn't really do before. What does that mean? Sometimes you're spending more money. You might be sitting around on Tuesday afternoon going, you know what? I want to go to the beach today and get some lobster. Okay, fine. Do it once in a while. Just don't get used to spending all that money on your free time. Got a lot of free time. It's easy to sit there and spend more money. Be careful of that. That is a big adjustment. You didn't have that kind of free time when you were working, right? Now you do. Try to fill it up with inexpensive things. And yeah, every once in a while, take a flyer on something. Go out and spend some bucks, Just be careful. Don't make it a habit. Number 7. When you were working, did you really have to plan if you were going to make a big purchase? Like, let's say a car. Did you really have to plan for that? Well, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, yes, you did. The people that weren't living paycheck to paycheck, that saved money, saved for retirement, saved just in general, had an emergency fund. If you needed to get a car, did you really have to plan for it? Or could you just decide on the weekend and go, hey, you know what? It's time to get a new car. When you're in retirement, those decisions affect you differently. They also can affect your nest egg differently. You got to think about them more. You got to plan out for them. That's why I've mentioned before you even go into retirement, and let's say you might need a new roof on your house, plan that into your retirement calculations. How much you have in your nest egg, how much you can spend. You can put their online calculators like FI Calc that will allow you to put one-time expenditures in there. Say by age 65, you're going to need to put a new roof on your house. You can plug that in. It'll take that into your whole nest egg calculation. So you got to think about those big purchases in retirement. You can't just spur of the moment go and do them. Number 8, downsizing. Downsizing from a health standpoint is big. If you want to go from a 2-story to a 1-story because it's easier to get around like that, yes, but also financially. You might want to go downsize because if you have a mortgage, you're tired of spending this huge amount on mortgage. You might have equity built up so you can buy something smaller for cash. No more mortgage, right? Also, property tax will be lower. Utilities will probably be lower too, right? So that's a big financial decision. Is it in your best interest to downsize? Might not be. You might be okay. But you could save a lot of money by doing it. Number 9, taxes. A lot of people have no idea what their taxes are going to be in retirement. I didn't know as much as I should have, let's put it that way. In the last couple of years, I've really got to understand it. Luckily, I'm in the 12% tax bracket. I keep, like I've said before on this channel, my expenses are pretty low, okay? So if you can keep yourself in a lower tax bracket, I was never in the 12% tax bracket when I was working, so it came as a pleasant surprise. But there are things you need to understand, especially later down the line. If you have a big nest egg, watch out for those RMDs that kick in at 73. That's why it might make sense to do Roth conversions. If you have a large, let's say, amount of money sitting in your 401k, when it gets down the road, you might automatically have to take a lot of money out there and it might push you up into a higher tax bracket. You got to know your taxes before you're retired. Unlike me, you got to know them before you're retired. Number 10, and actually, this is a good thing, right? This is a good thing. You're not saving for retirement anymore. A big chunk of your paycheck before went to retirement, right? So there are some people who might say like, you know what? They say that you only need like 75, 70, 80% of your pre-retirement income in retirement. Hey, if you were saving a lot for retirement and you're in retirement now, that's a big chunk of your paycheck that you weren't using on monthly expenses, right? So that's a good thing. Financially, that's a good thing. So this is just a bonus tip. Nothing wrong with this at all. You're not saving for retirement. You should be able to get by in a lot less now, right? Most people should, hopefully. And if you're on moderate income, that'll really help you down the road. There you go, guys. There are the Big 10 that you must do ASAP. Remember, guys, keep some of these in mind. And if you do, we got this.